Moving on to division now, and I'm going to show you maybe a slightly different method of dividing than you may have seen before. As always, if you've got a method that you prefer to use, that's absolutely fine, but sometimes it's just useful to see a different way of doing the same thing. So 537 divided by 15, not so hot on my 15 times table, if I'm honest. So what I'm going to try and do is simplify the calculation. Now I'm going to use this division line. If you've looked at some earlier videos, I do like to use the division line rather than the division symbol. So it now looks like a fraction, and what I know I can do with fractions is simplify them. But the question is, what goes into 15 and 537? Now, a nice little check is if you want to see if a number is divisible by 3, you find the digital root of the number. Now, I know 3 goes into 15, but does 3 go into 537? Well, if I add 5 plus 3 plus 7, I get 15, which I know 3 goes into. So yes, 537 and 15 are both divisible by 3. So I can find an equivalent fraction or calculation to do. So 3 goes into 15 5 times, and 3 goes into 5 once, 2 left over. It goes 7 times into 21 with 2 left over, and then it goes 9 times exactly into 27. So now my calculation is 179 divided by 5. This is an equivalent calculation. I can now do, if I want to, the bus stop method, you probably call it. 5s into 1 doesn't go, 5s into 17, 3 5s are 15, so carry 2. 5s into 29, well 5 5s are 25, but I've got to carry 4. Now to carry the 4, what I need to do is put my decimal position in there, and I can follow this decimal position by any number of zeros that I need. In this case, 5 into 40 is 8, so my answer is 35.8. And I don't need to do any more calculations or adjustments at all. That is my answer, 35.8. Moving on to this one, 45 divided by 2.5. Now, dividing by decimal number is tricky, so what I'm going to do again is create an equivalent fraction. Now, the best way to get this to a whole number is simply to double it. So 2.5 times 2 is 5, and what I've done to the bottom I must do to the top. So 2 lots of 45 is 90. So my calculation now is a much easier 90 divided by 5. So I can work that out nice and easily. So my answer is 18. 5 goes into 90 18 times, and therefore 2.5 will go into 45 18 times. Okay, so this might be a slightly different way of doing division than you've seen before. I think it's very useful if you've got decimal numbers or not quite as nice numbers to divide by, where your times table knowledge might be a bit more limited. It's worth having a go at.